Who would have thought Saudi Arabia would beat Argentina? Like, come on, guys. Who would have seen that coming? Argentina strolled into this competition, current Copa America holders, current Finalissima holders, no matter what you think of the importance of that tournament. And when currently at that point in time before the match on a 36-game unbeaten streak. Like, think about that. Just think about that. Think about how mad that is. And in the blink of an eye, in the blink of 9 minutes, all of that was gone. Finished. Finito. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? Well, even now, many hours after the game is done, I'm still in disbelief, and I'm sure a lot of you guys are too. Over the last few years, since Lionel Scaloni became manager, in turbulent times, he's done so well to rebuild the culture and the vibe around the team. It looked like a team that could only depend on Messi despite the numerous quality players that surrounded him. And they couldn't quite play cohesively as a team. But over this 36-game run where they won the Copa America and all these other trophies, it looked like they really started to figure something out. They finally knew how to play as a team and still exploit Messi's brilliance. And then this game comes. In the first half, it was pretty smooth sailing. They looked pretty comfortable, pretty much in control without actually playing too well, but at the same time, the warning signs were there. Saudi Arabia were catching them by surprise with a very high press, catching Argentina out numerous times offside, to the point when Argentina put the ball in the net 3 times after Messi scored the opening penalty in the 10th minute. 3 times they scored after that penalty from Messi, and all 3 times the goal was ruled out for offside. And another bunch of occasions where they were just getting caught offside, and it was like, we weren't sure to believe if this was on purpose or was this by accident. But, looking at who's in charge of Saudi Arabia, Hervé Renard, who has a fantastic record, particularly in African football, with his success winning AFCON with Zambia, of all African countries, with Zambia, and winning it with Ivory Coast, a much more familiar name in the top echelons of football in Africa. So to see this system being executed so brilliantly by players that might be perceived as lesser, it's very impressive and requires a really high level of coaching. And Argentina looked like they had so many opportunities to break through the lines and get through on goal, but the timing of the runs weren't just right. And ultimately, they got caught slipping in the second half by 5 crazy minutes. Oh my gosh. Saudi Arabia scored 2 goals. Their top scorer, his name is escaping me, and the winning goal. And it's just like, flipping now. Who would have thought, innit? Who would have thought? I don't know what else to really say. All I can really express right now is the shock and the surprise. Argentina, at this point, fully defaulted to playing to Messi. Messi ended up dropping in so deep. He was playing like a holding midfielder, like a deep line playmaker. That's not what you want Messi to be doing, especially at his stage of the career, at this stage of his career, because he can't make the runs all the way into the box. And every time Di Maria got into threatening positions and created something on the wing, there was nobody in the box to capitalize. Julian Alvarez came on too late, and he had a couple of half chances, full chances. Lautaro was disappointing despite his 2 offside goals. And Messi was extremely disappointing. There was one moment where the ball landed him on the edge of the box and he hesitated to shoot and he lost the ball. And it's like, sometimes, I don't know what it is with the World Cup that, players, what, I'm asking that I don't know the World Cup is the biggest tournament in football, but it's crazy how the pressure hits these guys. And we'll talk more about that with a certain player that plays for the Poland national team later on. But all in all, Argentina literally defaulted to playing for Messi again and nothing else. And they were just punting the ball forward. They just, Messi said after the game, it was just 5 minutes of mistakes that cost them. And Romero pretending to be injured, I'm joking. I don't know if he's pretending to be injured or not. Let's hope he's not. But you can tell he wasn't 100%, and he let the striker slip him for the first goal. So, really and truly, people might say Lisandro should have played, but that's just hindsight talking. Let's be honest. No one was really making much of a complaint apart from Manchester United fans. But Argentina still have 2 games to bounce back. Obviously, as we know, Spain lost their opening game of the 2010 World Cup to Switzerland, 1-0, and went on to win the tournament. It's still possible. Argentina should not be ruled as favourites, should not be ruled out as favourites after this performance. We should rule them out once they've been knocked out. The way football works, we can't rule any team out. This performance should humble them and refocus their minds and their spirits and their souls, but not to the point of where there's pressure. They are still favourites going into the games against Mexico and against Poland, and probably won't be surprised by the system that the team ends up executing. Of course, Argentina personnel will say that they expected them to come out like this, but honestly, Saudi Arabia haven't been in the best of form since qualifying near the top of their qualifying group ahead of Japan and Australia. And they've been losing more games than they've been winning recently. But I guess when it came to the international heat and the help of the crowd as well, let's not get it twisted, as we know how close geographically Saudi is to Qatar, So, of course, all the fans are going to come in their droves and they're going to support them. And you can tell it felt like a home game for the Saudi Arabians. It's crazy, man. It was an amazing game, and a game that will truly shock the spirit, and I don't know there's going to be a more surprising result for the whole tournament. Nonetheless, moving on, after that craziness, Denmark faced Tunisia. A game where it was almost a similar template in terms of the team seen as the underdog surprised the opposition, and the opposition was slow to react. Denmark, it was a languid, slow performance. Didn't create much, and Tunisia threatened on a break, and they looked very dangerous, and of course put the ball in the net. But again, VAR ruled that out for offside, and all in all, I think Tunisia will be more happy with the draw than Denmark will be. As for the other game in that group, France beating Australia 4-1. Now, everyone had their big question marks concerning France, who are usually touted as one of the big favourites for a World Cup or for any major tournament. But with the amount of injuries that have hit them, oh boy, it was going to be hard to avoid the World Cup curse. But so far, it looks good. Despite Graham's opening goal after 9 minutes, France kept their cool, unlike Argentina, and turned the game around to win 4-1. Giroud netting 2, Mbappe getting 1, and Rabiot getting the equaliser. So all in all, France comfortably through that first game, and hopefully they can hold their own against Denmark and Tunisia, which I think they will. I feel like Denmark will be the most difficult game, and if they get through that with the same ease or similar ease to this game, then honestly, France shall be reinstated as one of the favourites. And many people are still seeing them as favourites, but I feel like people were questioning it. I think there's less questions now, especially if they carry on this form. And then moving on to Argentina's group, Mexico, Poland. This game, what was interesting about this game is that these two teams came into this probably not expecting to see Argentina lose, aka not seeing an opportunity to top the group. But now they can suddenly see obviously they both started to play Argentina, and you can tell by the first half between these two sides that it was a bit cagey. Mexico were pushing a bit more than Poland. Poland were happy to sit back, but in the second half, it kind of stayed the same. And then, Poland almost robbed the game, you could say, when Lewandowski won a penalty. But because Lewandowski is allergic to scoring goals in the World Cup, he missed his penalty. He got it saved by Guillermo Ochoa, who, of course, when it comes to the World Cup, is a magnificent keeper. We all know he's absolute magic, isn't he? If only if he played like that in club football, boy, he would be he'd be one of the top teams in Europe, But yeah, you know how it is with the World Cup. It brings the best or the worst out of people, or both. And Lewandowski, for some reason, can never cut it in the World Cup. It's actually really sad. How is someone of his scoring capabilities hasn't even netted in the World Cup? Phew, it's mad. But all in all, it was another 0-0 draw, just like the Denmark-Tunisia game. And, a game where we could have been wanting more in terms of the two teams, in terms of how they performed. But I guess the nervousness and the sizing of the occasion and the importance of the game kind of, overcame them. Denmark might have seen it as an opportunity to impose themselves and kind of get France a little, shaking in their boots a little bit, but it wasn't to be. And of course, Mexico, Poland, they saw an opportunity to take that group by storm after Argentina lost. And, none of them did that. And ended up being a draw. Saudi Arabia are top of the group right now as it stands, which is so mad. And Argentina just have to focus on trying to win those 2 games against, the more difficult sides, you could say. But I don't know if they'll play with that dog in them like Saudi Arabia did. It's the World Cup. You can't rule anything now. Nonetheless, I think I'm going to end it here. Tomorrow we're going to be talking about another one of the big boys in Belgium. Belgium. And of course, Germany too, And we're going to see Canada debuting. I say debuting, but they haven't played in a while. Make sure you check out our sponsors in the description, GG Diamond Designs. You already know how it is. You saw the promo in the last video. But thank you all for listening, and I'll catch you all guys tomorrow.
Mini Laje.